Okay, so the question was, how do you get your tambour intonated properly? Okay, so the first thing you have to know is the scale length of the instrument. Now, the bridge is movable, so theoretically the scale length could change. So if you change the length, so the scale length is from the strings that are right as they touch the bridge, the length from there all the way to when they touch the nut right here, this white part. Okay, so that length from the nut to the top of the bridge is your scale length. And scale length determines the divisions or the locations of the frets, okay, in order to get whatever scale that you're looking for. Okay, now this instrument is in a major scale. The frets are laid out in a major mode. Okay, a lot of East and Middle Eastern instruments are microtonal in that they have many more fret divisions within their scale length, so you can get microtonalities above sharps and flats, above sharps or below flats. Okay, so they make a lot more provisions for the division of the scale in Western music. But this instrument is unique in that it necessarily does not, although obviously you're able to get, you know, subtle tones on it because the strings can be bent and you can move these frets off to get notes that you want. For the majority, the instrument is just set up in a major scale. Okay, how do I know that? Well, when I got my instrument, actually the first thing I did was measure from the nut to the first fret. I came up with that measurement and was able to plug a bunch of things into a scale calculator and get pretty close. Okay, another way you can do it is, and if you have this instrument, you can probably just try this because it's probably going to get you pretty close. So here's my scale length. I've got the end of the tape measure sitting right on the nut, and it's coming down right across the bridge at about 28 1/4. Okay, so that tells me the scale length is 28 1/4. Why is that useful? Because if I know my scale length, I can determine how far my frets should be apart. Okay, and how do I do that? Well, I go to Stuart McDonald, which is they have a fret position calculator online. Okay. So here it is. Just punch up StuMac fret position calculator. Okay. What I did was I punched in 20 frets, okay, which there's only 14. Okay, then I punched in scale length, which you can see right here is 28 1/4, 0.250, because you're putting in decimals, not fractions, right? So 25 1/4, 25.250, and then I put inches, and then I just hit calculate. And then it will divide. Actually, I set it on acoustic guitar. Okay, even though this is a timbre, I set it on acoustic guitar because acoustic guitar is set up in a not a diatonic but a chromatic fashion, so it is set up in a major type scale. All right, so I punched acoustic guitar, I hit calculate, and it gave me the lengths or the positions, the fret positions for a 28-inch scale. All right. So if you'll notice where it says first fret and then from nut, so that's the distance from the nut to the first fret, which is 1 586 thousandths. Like, oh my God, my ruler doesn't measure like that. Of course it doesn't. You need a special tool. You need a micrometer. Okay. What this does is it divides inches into thousandths. Okay. So my inch roughly is about, right there. Okay. And then every tick after that is a thousandth. So 1 inch, then 5 thousandths, and then all the way to 86. Okay. This gives me a hundredths. Actually, 1 inch is a thousandths. Then every tick after that is 100. So there's 1,586. Okay. are 1.586. All right. I know this is kind of complex. You can go online and look up better explanations of this, but this gives you the exact measurement. Okay. Now, since this is a 28 1/4 inch scale instrument, right? My first fret, which is this right here, should be that distance from the nut. Let's see if it is. So, yeah, pretty close. Okay. So that's basically how you're going to get your frets positioned in the right place. Also, you could do it another way too. You could go ahead and tune your first string to whatever note you wanted, and then find out whatever scale that you're playing. In this case, I'm playing a G. So the first note fretted would be G sharp. You would just adjust this until you got a G sharp. And then the next note would be A. You would just adjust this until you got the A note. So you'd need a tuner, you know. And then, of course, you can fine-tune these by using a tuner. You know, this may not be quite perfect, but it's not really too bad. It's pretty well intonated. And again, my frets were really tied on well. So once I got my scale length figured out, it was pretty much dead on. So I have the instrument tuned in C, G, G. Okay, so the notes are G open, G sharp, A, B flat, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, which is the octave, then G sharp again, and A. Okay? So once you have your string tuned, it will be in a major scale. So in this case, these strings are tuned to G, so these frets represents the divisions of a major scale. Once you have your instrument set up, so this is a major scale layout, right? If I changed the tuning, right? So I'm in C, G, G, so let's go up to D. Okay. Now I'm in DA. Okay. So the notes are going to be on the first chorus of strings here, it's going to be an A scale. A, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, and so forth. So that's pretty much what I got. Now you can, like I said, these frets are movable, so you can really, move the fret around and get perfectly intonated if you wish. But for the most part, it's pretty close. well, there it is. Figuring out scale length for your Kurdish Tanbor. And subsequently you can use the same technique for other instruments as well. If you have frets that are fixed, say these are inlaid into the neck, and you have no bridge on the thing, and there's no indication of where the bridge was, you can find out what the scale length is simply by measuring this distance and then punching in scale lengths to the calculator till you come up with a distance that's close like this, and then tweak it, you know. So there's different ways to do it, but this is pretty much the way I do it. And I build instruments, so this is how I figure out where to place my frets, is I come up with a scale length I want the instrument to have, and I leave all my bridges movable because, you know, this has a nice low action, but, you know, there is string deflection, so as you go down the string, there can be some distortion, and you can kind of micro-intonate your instrument by, you know, twisting the bridge a little bit here and there, thus shortening the string or lengthening the string to just, you know, to dial that intonation in, okay? So, there you have it. Kurdish Tanbor. Figure out your scale length and happy playing.